There's a lot of planning involved for a good game on Avengers.
Absolutely.
But to that end, I guess what a good game is up to the player. Doesn't always have to be about beating the game, especially with something like this. You just kind of want to chip away and get better at it, bit by bit.
Yeah.
Celebrate good times and nearly 75 years of pinball with one of Stern's latest releases, Avengers Infinity Quest, designed by Keith Elwin. In this episode, you'll recognize our guest from Season 1 as we discuss his skill development and review pinball's unique evolution through the decades. Let's get flippin'. What's your first thought walking up to this machine, Mark?
I mean, the IP draws me to it, and the fact that it's an Elwin machine draws me into it. You know, I think the flow and the layout are really cool. There's some shots that I haven't seen on other machines before, or just remixes of what I've seen, but it feels like it makes sense for this sort of game. But once you start getting into it and really playing it, I think it's deep. It's a very deep game. And from my perspective, it's almost one of the deepest pinball games that are currently on the market. I mean, you could read textbooks on this game and not necessarily understand still what to do.
Yeah, my thought on Avengers first walking up is this is a very complicated looking machine. I had a tough time even just getting kind of started on it. I think they tried a lot in this machine. They put, I don't know, it's like this this marriage of video game and pinball, where video game really is more primary than the pinball. Like, you're having to start modes and make selections on the screen. You have to watch the screen quite often. As someone that's more of an old school pinball player, it's tough to split my attention like that. So I find myself getting stuck a little bit on machines this hard. I've never seen a machine this difficult before, as far as like the rule set and how deep it goes. I really like how when you first step up and make a shot, you really don't know where it's going because of the path that it takes. It doesn't seem quite as obvious, which I think is kind of fun.
Well, and you made a shot from the right flipper on the right ramp, and that blew me away because I'd never even thought that shot was, I never thought you could make it.
Yeah, that wide ramp I think was intended to be made from all three flippers, so that backhand is doable. Not as easy as the left side or that side flipper, but it's makeable. That's one thing I like in games is when you can make shots from both sides. Having that kind of control and that option. I think it helps ball time. I think it helps you play a longer game. Having ramps that feed to both sides, I also think helps with ball time and how long you get to play the game. And if a made shot comes back to you safely, and you can continue making those shots, then you're gonna go until you miss. Not all games are like that.
And I think that's good. I think there's a game should be balanced in a way where it's fun for the casual player and fun for the competitive player, the advanced player that wants a deeper rule set. But it's a fine balance, I think, between those two things. But these shots, like, they're makeable.
Do you think that the designers of this machine had any effect on the difficulty?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, you have literally the top players in the world designing the board, coming up with the code and the rules for the board.
And for a machine that is so hard, I am surprised that they were able to find such a balance for the new player. Because, yeah, the rules are intimidating.
So do you have a favorite feature of this game?
I think I was gonna say that right ramp, but I really enjoy that Avengers Tower where you lock the balls. It's a very satisfying shot, and we've discussed satisfying before, but the way the magnet holds it there and the thunk when it lands, it's unique. And I think unique shots are important in pinball machines. Yeah.
In comparison to an old game like Humpty Dumpty versus a new game like this, which is one of the newest ones that are on the market, what would you say are some of the big main differences?
I mean, apart from the wood rails, pure speed. I mean, Avengers is, I suppose, stereotypical of a modern game. It is fast as fast can be. And Humpty Dumpty, I don't know, it's a legend. It's legendary. It paved the way for what Avengers is doing today. Without Humpty Dumpty, I don't think we're playing Avengers. The invention of the flipper is so important to pinball. Yeah, you really do have to thank that old machine for what it's given us. But if you look at it as a pinball machine, there are similarities. I mean, the little bumpers, we got them. Flippers, we got them. The equivalent of slings, we got them. So a lot of features still stand the test of time. But it all started with Humpty. And Avengers just, it keeps rewarding you. Like, if you make a shot, it lets you know with a big boom and a big light show. Humpty Dumpty just kind of goes bing. But I appreciate the bing. A good bing and a good thunk can be as rewarding as a jackpot. Got a silver smoke trail zipping through the in-lane, got it safely over the gap with a rolling pass. By holding the flipper up, you create a little jump for our speedy friend to ride. And if you need a bit more hang time, a small upward nudge makes the rolling pass a breeze.
So, when you're watching another person play, or when you're out playing with another person, what are you looking for when they play? You know, what is it that keeps you interested in watching another person play, whether they have the skills or not, you know?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I enjoy watching players of every skill level, and that's for good reason. I learn something, pretty much, I learn something from every player. Whether they're the best in the world or they just started. They'll probably try something that I never thought of. So it benefits me to watch them because then I can maybe adapt on that or come up with something myself that will help my game. And also watching another person play gives you information about the machine they're playing. So if I'm playing a game with 4 people and I'm going last, I have 3 players in front of me to give me all the information on where the misses are going, or you know how tough some of the shots are, or how tight the tilt is. So watching a person play is free information. And I'm watching tournaments online, I'm definitely like watching for tips and skill and stuff like that, and tournament strategies. Like because machines are often set up differently, you'll find an Avengers won't play the same from one location to another, from one tournament to another. So it's nice to see what kind of adaptations players have to make for these more difficult machines.
I've only watched one playthrough video recently, and it was of Led Zeppelin. And it's just because I love that machine so much. I wanted to figure out what they were doing in it so I could try and replicate it. And so I must have spent an hour watching someone play Led Zeppelin. And then I went to the arcade and I was like, all right, I have this hour's worth of knowledge on a Richie game, so my game's gonna get better. And it was actually like the worst games I've ever had because, you know, there's a difference between watching someone play and playing yourself. And, you know, theory is great, but you gotta be the one that goes and manipulates those flippers to get those shots. You gotta get into the flow and the zone of what certain games ask for. And so it's great to watch someone do something, but I still got that.
It's actually really neat that you mentioned that. Is with like rule sharing at tournaments and stuff, I noticed that a lot of people keep their lips tight, and that's totally fair. I understand that, but a few players will, like, if you look confused or if you ask them, they'll just straight up tell you the exact strategy to use, and they'll tell you that, well, you have to do it. Like, I'll tell you all the steps, but you still have to do it. Yeah, so, good luck. So what would you say are some of the pros to being a host for this show? I think the pro to this hosting this is just knowing that we have the chance to influence others to enjoy pinball in a similar way that I do. And I'm not saying my way is the only way, but I like my way. And I think you like your way, and everyone should like their way. And there's no one way to do it. So being able to show people what I love to do in a way that's hopefully understandable and accessible, I think that's a big pro. That's kind of why I'm doing it, is because I want people to be able to end up with 2 balls on the right flipper and 1 ball on the left. This is called the Elwin, by the way. So, tribute to Keith. Well, I don't know what the 3 on one side's called, Keith, but I had you for a second there. So what was your favorite moment shooting this season?
Oh, there's so many good moments from this season. It's really hard to pick, you know, between getting all of these really cool machines that we've been able to explore and experiment with and have an opportunity to play the certain games that, you know, I don't know if I'll ever have an opportunity to play them again, but I'm gonna say that it was you telling me that I could do the wizard mode on Addams Family, because I didn't think I could, but as we've discussed, like Lawler has these layouts that are for a beginner, but they're also for an advanced person as well. But knowing that to beat Addams Family, you could just do 2 shots over and over again, and so it improves your accuracy or improves some of your skills, like live catching, like I had said before. That's not only is it one of the best moments from this season for me, it's probably like it'll be ingrained in my DNA as one of my best pinball moments ever, because it made me feel like I'm not as bad as I thought I was. You know, I'm not as good as I maybe want to be, but, you know, it's a skill that you always have to work on. And so being able to do that, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't like I just walked up and I did it. I think I played for 4 or 5 hours straight on Addams Family, trying to just nail those 2 shots over and over again until I could master it. And then I finally had the one, my hands hurt. I know my knuckles weren't bleeding, but they might as well have been at that point, you know? It was just like, it wasn't easy. And how hard it was made it just feel like that much more special, that I put in the work and it was achievable for me. So I think that's my favorite moment from this season, aside from getting to flip around with you all day.
I don't want to hijack your moment, but that I think was mine as well, is watching your progression and finding your pinball path. Carving your own pinball path. Watching you do that on your own has been pretty inspirational for me too.